Hey gamers, Maniac here with GameAccess.net. I wanted to do a little bit of a wrap-up for a convention that I attended last month. It's a little late, I admit, but I had a lot I wanted to say about it. I think I kind of wanted to let it sit and stew with me. The convention I went to last month was the Quinni-Con, which happened early March at Quinnipiac University's York Hill campus in my home state. The great thing about the Quinni-Con is that it's completely free of charge. It has been around for 3 years, and every year that I've attended, it is completely free of charge. They host it on a on a Saturday and a Sunday. I don't think they can host it on a Friday. I talked to them about it, and they said that there's problems with them doing 3 days because they have to have it strictly over the weekend because they can't have interfering with student activities and things like that during the week. So I understand that. Would really be nice if they did a 3-day convention, but I'll take what I can get. A 2-day free convention is awesome. There are panels, there's an artist alley, there are vendors, there are screening rooms, video game rooms, cosplayers. The cool thing that I've always appreciated about the Quinni-Con was that you step onto that York Hill campus and you go into where they're hosting it, and I guess I'll have to show you guys a picture. Do I have a picture on file? Doesn't it look like you're stepping into another world, basically? And that was on its off day. That was on, I think I took that picture on Sunday, actually. It was, when you step in there, this year was the biggest year that they had had so far. And when you step into that building, which looks almost like, I dare say, a Pokemon Lodge, basically, or a real-world Pokemon Center, basically. You have no idea how badly I wanted to get a camera person to come with me to this event, just so they could film me walking through it, basically, to see everybody in costume in this environment. It literally felt like I was literally inside a video game. It was awesome. All the guys who attended, who wore costumes and everything, you just contributed to the atmosphere. It was great to see everybody in costume. It felt like, for attendees, it felt like I was in another world. At least for 2 days, I felt like I was in another world. I appreciated that. That, to me, was one of the best things that I appreciated. Another thing is that there are not really that many conventions that happen in the state of Connecticut. There's the Quinni-Con, which is an awesome event, which I have attended the last couple of years. That's a great event. There's the Yukon at Yukon that I've heard of. I had attended their first 2 years, but they're very bad about making it, how do I put this? They haven't done it every year, basically. There have been years where they haven't had one. And because they chose, at least during certain years, to host their website exclusively through Facebook and made the decision to lock access to that Facebook page only to Facebook users, basically that's basically it. How else am I supposed to know that they're actually having events? I think they might have opened up a new website. Occasionally they have done their own website. I don't know if they have one right now. I think they might. But at the time available, the last I had heard from them was that they hadn't done the year prior or the year before that, and they only had a Facebook site that I couldn't access. So I had no way of knowing about the event. But I have heard that there was one this year. I would have liked to have known that before the event happened, but that's just me. Quinni-Con, on the other hand, actually has their own dedicated website, which you can register on. It had a full schedule of events leading up to the event. It had a listing of all the celebrities that were going to be attending. One Kids Entertainment, No Whacking, and XX Jerry64XX did attend this year. It was nice to see the Elite Three basically together for the first time. No Whacking and One Kids had appeared for each year, but Jerry could not attend, unfortunately. But this year, he had attended. The whole group was together, and that was freaking awesome to see the whole group together and meet Jerry for the first time. No whacking, one kid's great. I've met them. They're great people. A lot of fun to hang around with. And they showed us the first, the first tidbits of what they were going to do for their anniversary, their new anniversary special, which would have been which was the episode 2 redub. We were some of the first people to actually see that redub on the panel, and we also got to see the Twitch Pokemon, or the Twitchy Pokemon animation that they had done strictly for the Elite 3 channel, which I thought was really funny. We also got to see another gag. They may upload it on the website. One of the people that was attending the panel named the gag. I won't say what it is, but if they ever do post it, I'll mention it on my website or on my channel. Speaking of Pokemon, if you're a fan of Pokemon, if I may make a comment about that, since we're on the subject of talking about it, obviously there was the showings for the Pokemon Bridge series, which is a staple as far as I'm concerned of the event. Oh gosh. They did some awesome, that was obviously another year's great panel. But they did do some more stuff with Pokemon this year. They actually had a Pokemon Center panel. Now, I've attended a few conventions here and there. I don't think I've ever seen a panel actually have its own dedicated Pokemon Center. I have seen, Pokemon trainers kind of wandering around in conventions and stuff like that, or either street passing or challenging other Pokemon trainers at the event unofficially. But they actually did host at the Quinni-Con this year a dedicated Pokemon Center panel. And I want to talk about it just briefly. Why don't more conventions do this? Pokemon is back. Obviously, Pokemon X and Y are probably some of the top games for the Nintendo 3DS right now. To say nothing of the fact of the earlier Pokemon games. Pokemon Fever is back, at least from what I can see. The games have been very highly rated. People are playing them. People are cosplaying as Pokemon trainers in the events. But this was the first time at least I've attended a convention that actually had its own dedicated Pokemon Center. I want to talk about it briefly. This is the way it organized. They, for an hour, dedicated a panel room strictly for Pokemon trainers, and they had two of their, I guess their event organizers or something, monitoring the room. They told me later on, actually I'll get into that later on. So they had two people monitoring it, and basically they said, here are the rules. This is for Pokemon trainers with their 3DS. If you want to use theirs, the room for Street Pass, that's fine. If you want to play Pokemon, trade Pokemon, battle Pokemon, go right ahead. And for the hour, basically, that's what everybody was doing. The room was packed. As far as I can remember, many of them are actually in real Pokemon trainer costumes. The room was packed with people. It was awesome. There were people trading mostly. There were a few battles that were taking place, and the monitors, or whatever you want to call them, the people that were running the panel, that were QuinniCon staff, basically did trivia, like a few trivia questions. Like they kind of talked to anybody that was in the panel that wanted to talk to them, or they asked the audience trivia questions, some pretty hard ones too. I mean, nothing I could answer, I don't think. But there was that, and I thought that was pretty awesome. The only misstep I would say, and I did later tell them about this, was that they did host it in a high-tech room. High-tech rooms, in case you don't know, is just another term for a room with computer access and a projection screen, so you could use either hook up your computer to it or would have a computer provided that you could show the audience. They didn't make use of it. I wish they had. Obviously, these, if you have yourself a 3DS or something like that, a 3DS by itself, unless you modify it, cannot output video, certainly. So obviously, I don't think that they could get, they could get anything through that. But I said, maybe later on, it would have given it more of a Pokemon Center theme. Pokemon Centers in the game world are very high tech. You'll have, when you're walking around, you see screens. Most of them are just doing random stuff. But it's reasonable to assume that if you're in a Pokemon Center, there'll be screens showing something. Either what Pokemon might be in the area, show times for things, who's in line next for their Pokemon to come back, what trainers are available for battling or cable club, the statistics, things like that. Obviously all in-game ideas and stuff like that. If they wanted to do something like that, like I said, the room already felt like you were walking into a Pokemon Center to begin with for the venue that they had picked. With everybody in costume, that just adds to the atmosphere. And the cool thing was, and this was really cool, like I said, they didn't make use of the projection screen for that panel. I basically said, if you're going to do it again, totally think it's awesome that you could do one. Try to have make use of the projection screen in some way. Like, I couldn't really come up with an answer how, but the people on the panel who were hosting the panel, the organizers of the event basically, did say, oh, we could do this, or oh, we could show this, or actually immediately came up with ideas of Pokemon-themed content that they could have on the screen. I said, you could choose to have audio, you could have images and stuff like that on the screen, Pokemon-related stuff, with no audio, or you could have audio. It's up to you. They were totally for it. They actually, when I gave them that idea, it sounded to me like they wanted to do it again next year. Hey, if they want to, you know, bless them, or have a dedicated area sequestered off for that sort of thing. They also had a Maid Cafe. I don't know if that's a typical thing that is done in conventions. This was awesome. They have been doing it for the past 3 years. I hope they continue to do it. A Maid Cafe is basically a bunch of people, men and women, in costumes. It's very similar, I guess. I think it comes from Japan. I think it's a tradition of Japan, where you'd have a cafe and then women would come based upon tips and stuff like that and serve you in hot outfits and stuff like that. And if you wanted them to sit and talk with you or have a drink with you, heck, play paper, rock, scissors or something, rock, paper, scissors or something like that, they would do that if you know, certainly if you paid them to sit and tipped good. At the Maid Cafe that they had at QuinniCon, this is a tradition that they've had. This is the 3rd year they've done it. They give away free goodies, teas, snacks, that sort of thing. And snacks usually mean like, the English would call them cakes, I guess. You know, tea cakes, little brownies, little cookies, you know, that sort of thing, biscuits, that sort of thing, basically. You would get that with in order a cup of tea. And the cool thing about the Maid Cafe at QuinniCon was, it was completely free of charge. You could go in, have a seat, street pass, or just kind of chill out for a little bit, and they'll give you, free of charge, tea, little cakes, that sort of thing. It was awesome. That's like a great thing when there's not a panel going on and you just got to kill some time while you're waiting for another panel. The Maid Cafe was a great hangout spot, and actually it was, even though it was, because it was sequestered off and stuff like that, not too many people used it, or at the very least when I was there, most people didn't attend, so it was a good place. You could find a seat and everything else. I was surprised that more people didn't make use of it. They did rely on tips, and the tips went to charity. I believe that anybody that contributed money towards the Maid Cafe, and you could do this at any time when the Maid Cafe was in operation. I typically wait till Sunday, depending on how much I use it. I'll usually pay up on Sunday, basically, but I had done that. And the money goes to charity, goes to Child's Place particularly. Maybe later years they might do a different charity, but traditionally, if I remember correctly, this year, all the money went to Child's Play that they got in tips, and that's great. It's a great organization. So there's that. When I sat for a panel, I remember there was an older woman. She called herself, she was a self-described con mom. She didn't like the Maid Cafe, or she thought that maybe that the area that was used for the Maid Cafe could be used for something else, in particular like a designated con mom area. All I was thinking was, you could literally, well, first off, like I was thinking, like, I didn't like that idea one bit, and we disagreed on it. It didn't get violent or anything, obviously, but I did address my vocal opposition to her idea, simply because literally the conventions, most of the places, these are like the one events that people like us get to go to, basically. And the fact that they happen to be in my area just makes it all the more sweeter, basically. The fact that it's free made it all the more sweeter. I don't get to do this every day, basically. I don't get to associate with like-minded people who have similar likes in normal conditions, basically. So when she asked to use the Maid Cafe for a different use, or change the use of the Maid Cafe to something else, I kind of said, well, you can go anywhere else on the planet, literally. If you know, there is designated con mom spots. You know, no joke. Literally every other place on the planet you can go to, that if you want to just relax. In fact, there was, at least not too far from the York Hill campus, there were Dunkin' Donuts, there were Starbucks, there were a whole bunch of other places not far from where they were. So plenty of places she could have gone to that con attenders basically would have no use for, because they would rather be in the environment. So there's that. As for the panels, well, I said before, there were Pokemon Bridge panels. Once again, it is, as far as I'm concerned, a QuinniCon tradition. It's maybe the third year they did it. There was a great Slenderman panel. Princess Angel's a huge fan of Slenderman. Unfortunately, she couldn't attend the con. I went by myself, but I did watch the Slenderman panel on her behalf, and I enjoyed it, and I told her all about it later on. It was basically like how to survive if Slenderman is after you or something, how Slenderman works, that sort of thing. It was a really fun panel. There was a panel that I didn't attend, although I regret I didn't attend. It was called the Kana Sutra. It was 18+. I don't know what a Kana Sutra is, and I don't think I want to know, because what I was told later on about the event the next day, let's just say I certainly probably would have been interested in going if I was single. It sounded like fun, it sounded to me basically just like a great place for singles to meet up, that sort of thing, for single adults to meet up and possibly set up dates or things like that. Obviously, I don't think anything too bad happened. I didn't attend or anything like that. But it seemed like it was a great place for adults to get together and meet each other and that sort of thing. And I totally think that's cool. Obviously, since I have a girlfriend, I did not attend. And it sounded to me like the panel was better for single, it was designed specifically for single people, which is totally, totally good. But I didn't attend, so I can't really comment too much further on that. I think it was cool that they were having it, though. What else was there? There was a really good Pokemon philosophy panel that was hosted by a guy cosplaying in character as Professor Sycamore. You guys got the picture? Yeah, that's it. He actually got controversial really fast. And if you don't believe me, how could a Pokemon panel get controversial? Believe me, Pokemon panels can get controversial. I know, I didn't believe it either, but this guy was saying some pretty controversial stuff. Not offensive, but controversial, contrary to what might be considered canon in the video games, basically. He had his own ideas and theories, basically, that in some cases contradicted either well-established theories or well-established canon, basically. In case you'd like an example, he didn't believe that Arceus was really God or something like that. This was just either like an in-universe myth or something along those lines. And when he said that, the audience turned against him, basically. So there's just one example for you. From what I heard, obviously there is a Church of Arceus in-game, so apparently the Arceus devout were a little bit upset with that revelation. But his reasoning was that a lot of the information that are listed in the Pokédexes, basically, are either physically impossible, even in the game's universe, or such obvious BS in the games, even in the game's universe, that there would basically be real information given to only a select few. Most of them would be like gym trainers or the Elite Four and stuff like that, basically, depending upon how good you get to be in Pokemon Society. It gets to be how much of the actual truth you get of the Pokemon world. That was at least to the audience for the panel a bit controversial. Me, I thought it was a pretty cool panel to watch. But in case you guys have a problem with that or have your own theories, please post them in the comments. I will not disagree with any of your comments. Everybody is certainly welcome to make up their own theories, as was this guy. So please post your comments below on what you think of that. Don't shoot the messenger, basically. Sunday, there was less attendance than there was on Saturday. Saturday was just packed. It was more packed than I've ever seen. There were certainly people there on Sunday. Unfortunately, most of the pictures that I've posted up or shown were from I took them on Sunday, so there weren't nearly as many people in the pictures that they were on Saturday. So just take that into account. Another comment I want to make is that it looked to me like QuinniCon is ready to expand for next year. They had opinion cards up and available for people to fill out. And it looks to me like the QuinniCon organizers want to expand this to a bigger venue. In which case, if they do, they may have to start charging for the event just so that they can cover the cost of the venue, basically. I don't know how I feel about that. At first, I really didn't like it because I like the event the way it is, basically. I like the venue that they currently use. If they change it, I don't know, maybe, and they start charging for it, basically. I don't know how I feel about that, basically. I think it might lose something or change something. Obviously, they said they do it because they want to host more panels. They want to do it for longer. They want to give you more, basically. They want to give. It started small. I thought it was great when it started small. It's gotten steadily bigger every year. And I think they've gotten to a point where they kind of realize that maybe they need to expand. Whether they decide to do it for next year or further on down the road, I'll still keep attending. I told these guys, you know, just remember press passes. Press want to come for these events. So keep me in mind when we do. If you do decide to expand, try to offer press passes, that sort of thing, basically. What else? Oh, I didn't get a chance to talk about the artist alley that they had. Like most conventions, there is an artist alley. There were a lot of artists. There was the artist that I actually really liked that was there. In particular, I want to mention Jim Taylor, the artist. Princess Angel's father is a huge, just enormous Batman fan. And his birthday was coming up when the con happened. It wasn't, you know, that much sooner. I think it was a couple of weeks from that point. But Jim Taylor had a bunch of different, I would say, maybe Bronze Age inspired, perhaps, Batman and Robin posters and things like that. He had Punisher, you know, the Marvel stuff. Most of his stuff was DC. He did do one of the Punisher. He did one of the Sixth Doctor, Colin Baker, that I thought was pretty sweet. I liked his style a lot, and I ended up getting a full-size, like a full-sized print of a image that he did of Batman and Robin, inspired from 60s. It was in 60s style. Robin had shorts on. Batman had little things on his, you know, little brows on his cowl and everything. It looked fantastic. It looked very Silver Age or Bronze Age. At least I think it is. 60s, 1960s, I would say. I'm pretty certain that's, I mean, always agree with that. The Golden Age was like the 30s and 40s. Silver Age, no, it was like the 30s up to the 40s. Silver Age was kind of like 45 or so on, and then Bronze Age was like later on, past the Silver Age, basically. And I would kind of put it around the 60s. And I'm pretty certain, if you're a problem with that, I think it was Bronze Age, but I could be wrong on that. So, after all of that, what did I think of the event? Sign me up for another year. I totally want to attend again. This is a great convention. I wish I could have had more people come. I would have loved to have shot some footage there, but unfortunately, nobody I knew could take the weekend off and come with me. This seems to be a recurring theme, actually, and I'm really disappointed about this. But unfortunately, I had to go alone. Because of that, I couldn't bring a camera crew with me to videotape anything that I wanted to videotape. All I could basically do was take some pictures here and there, basically. But the cool thing was I did get to attend a lot of the panels, and I had a blast. If you are in the Quinnipiac area, next time around, I'm certain they're going to be doing this event for next year. Whether or not they charge for it is still probably being debated. But if you're in the area, or if you're a fan of any of the people that are on this, are planning on being hosted, you got to attend. It's a great event. It's so much fun. And like I said, for 2 or 3 days, you feel like you're just stepping into another world. There aren't really that many kind of events like this. At least not in this area. And for the ones that we do have, we're grateful to have them. And I'm just happy to say this was a cool event. I'm really happy it was hosted. QuinniCon, I'll see you next year. Until next time, guys, this is Maniac with GameAccess.net. Over and out.